Have you ever had that feeling like your brain is just wired a little bit differently than everyone else's? Like you're processing the world on a totally separate channel. Well, let's dive right into that. Because what if that feeling isn't a sign that something's wrong, but actually a sign of something incredibly deep?
This really just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? So many of us feel this exact conflict. On one hand, your mind is this amazing tool that lets you see patterns and solve complex problems. But on the other hand, it can lead to this crushing mental exhaustion, a sense of isolation, just feeling completely overwhelmed. But here's the thing, this isn't a flaw. It's just a byproduct of how your brain is built to see the world.
You see, the struggles you face, they often come from a fundamental difference in your mental operating system. And I want to be clear, it's not better, it's not worse than anyone else's, it's just wired differently. And really understanding that wiring, that's the key to everything. So to start, let's look at the internal mechanics. Let's just forget about your external behaviors for a minute. We're going to explore the core code of how you actually think. Okay, now what's so fascinating here is this contrast. On one side, you've got reactive thinking. It's fast, it's emotional, it's almost automatic. But on the other side, you have analytical thinking, and its defining feature is that initial pause. Instead of just reacting, it stops, it questions, it looks for the logic and tries to understand the why behind the rules. And that tiny little gap in time, that's where everything changes. And believe it or not, that pause actually has a name in psychology. It's called cognitive inhibition. Think of it like a mental brake pedal. It allows your reasoning brain to catch up with your emotional brain. So it's not about being slow, it's about being deliberate. And it's basically the foundational skill for advanced problem solving and, well, for keeping your cool. And that kind of deliberate processing leads to these internal experiences, right? Your mind is just always on, replaying conversations, second-guessing decisions. Instead of just feeling an emotion, you probably find yourself analyzing it, trying to figure out where it came from. You see the systems behind everything, and maybe the most intense part, you're your own toughest critic, constantly judging yourself not against other people, but against the ideal version of who you know you could be. Okay, so now let's see how this intense inner world actually translates to your actions. Because a lot of behaviors that might get labeled as weird or antisocial are really just highly intelligent strategies for managing the finite amount of energy that this deep processing demands. This is a big one. It's a question a lot of people with this kind of mind hear all the time, and it's almost always built on a complete misunderstanding. The assumption is, well, you must just not like people. So let's just reframe this right now. It's not about being antisocial. It is absolutely not about hating people. What it is intelligent energy management. It's you consciously or unconsciously protecting your mental battery so you have the resources to think and create and just function at your best. And this strategy shows up in so many ways. Loving to stay home isn't laziness. It's just pure energy conservation. Preferring the quiet, muted world of winter isn't about being gloomy. It's a way to reduce all that sensory input so you can think clearly. Avoiding the latest trends, that's not about being a contrarian. It's about having a strong internal compass that doesn't need outside approval. And yeah, hating small talk or not wanting guests over, it isn't rude. It's a defense mechanism for a brain that craves deep, meaningful connection and desperately needs a safe space to decompress. But let's be real, living this way is not easy. When you're operating on a different frequency, you're inevitably going to create some friction with the world that's, well, built for the majority. This kind of depth, it comes at a cost. And here are some of those costs. That loneliness you feel isn't about a lack of people around you. It's about a lack of real connection, of mental resonance. It's that frustration when your complex ideas get boiled down to something simple. It's that constant internal pressure to meet some impossible standard. And it's that quiet feeling of just not fitting in. Knowing that the conventional paths in life, they feel restrictive and, frankly, kind of meaningless to you. This often leads to something that psychologists call protective withdrawal. It's what happens when you're constantly the one putting in more effort, or when you share these deep thoughts and just get one-word replies back. Your brain learns. It learns that engaging can cost you more than it gives you. So you pull back, not to punish anyone, not at all, but to protect your own mental resources. It's a pure act of self-preservation. So look, if there is one single thing to take away from all of this, let it be this. The exhaustion, the feeling of being misunderstood, that deep need for solitude, these are not character flaws, they're not things you need to fix. They are simply the natural consequence, the cost,
of having a mind that processes the world with unusual intensity and depth.
So the final question isn't, how do I fix myself? Because you're not broken. The real question is this: now that you have a better understanding of your own operating system, how are you going to build a life that actually honors it instead of constantly fighting against it?